Welcome back to Talk of the Town on 99.7, 1450 WHTC and WHTC.com.
And we welcome you back to WHTC's Talk of the Town for this Thursday, May 28th. I'm Gary Stevens. Well, spring following the 11 o'clock news block. But on this fourth Thursday of the month, we set aside some time to find out what's going on at the Fillmore Street Complex. That is where the Ottawa County Administration Building is. And today we are joined by Ottawa County Commissioner Roger Bergman from the Grand Haven area. He's on the other end of our Zoom connection. Roger, good morning and welcome back to Talk of the Town.
Good morning, Gary.
Glad you are with us. And if you have a question for Roger, you can't join the Zoom connection. You can join us via the telephone at 395-1450, 395-1450. Roger, first of all, I want to touch upon the flooding situation with something that County Administrator Al Vandenberg talked to you and other board members about in the Grand Haven area. Obviously, water is a very important thing, and there is some concerns along those lines. Exactly where do we stand right now? Because we've had a lot of rain over the last few days.
Well, the people that live in the area of what we call Old Town in Grand Haven, and then some areas in Ferrysburg and Spring Lake Township, as well as Spring Lake Village, have dealt with the water across roads, not only, but also in basements and crawl spaces and things like that. So, and the water is slowly going down, but it's a big deal. In Grand Haven, for instance, we have Harbor Island where the power plant is. And if you were to look from an aerial view of Harbor Island, it would look like very little of the island is there anymore, because it's mostly water. When you look across, from one side to the other, it looks like a lake as opposed to an island. So it's there's a lot of water. I also serve on two lake boards in Ottawa County, and both of them are in Northwest Ottawa County, and both of them are dealing with situations where there's a lot of damage to property damage because of the water that's coming up on their lawns. And I have a friend of mine that lives on Spring Lake, and much of his lawn has been gone. Basically, the lawn itself has deteriorated so much because it's been underwater for such a long period of time. But the grass is all dead, and then the trees are dying as well because they're basically choked because of the water.
A problem that I've been mentioning to your colleagues in Allegan County, both Dean Kappinga and Jim Story, who represent the Holland area, who join us on a monthly basis, the fact that they've been dealing with high water, they've been dealing with erosion matters down there, and same here in Ottawa County. But the thing is, and the concern is the fact that many of the resources that perhaps would come from Lansing to be involved with this, unfortunately being tied up with the COVID-19 situation. Jim Story said, hey, listen, government should be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. Get the same feeling too in Ottawa County as well?
Yeah, yes. In fact, we did a state of emergency on that Sunday that we had that rainstorm. And the reason for that was so that we could get funding to cover some of the costs that we incurred in bringing in pumps to pump water off from out of storm sewers that were inundated, and to pump that water out of those storm sewers into the river to solve some of the issue where the water was backing up into homes. So it was for additional funding from FEMA and from basically from the federal government to use for some of those expenses that some of the municipalities were dealing with in terms of this water.
If you got a question for Ottawa County Commissioner Roger Bergman, we'll take it at 395-1450, 395-1450. Let's talk about state of emergency. The county board extended the current state of emergency dealing with the COVID-19 situation. Explain a little bit about why that extension was needed.
Well, I think that the important thing is that it gives our administrator the opportunity to be able to do some things that normally he wouldn't be able to do without going through the board every time first. And this gives him the opportunity to go ahead and do that, make some purchases, do some emergency kind of purchases for supplies or whatever that might be, and then go to the board afterward and reply or respond as to what the purchases were. So this gives the emergency management team the ability to do some things that they normally wouldn't be able to do.
And gives them a little bit more flexibility. But
Correct.
it does bring up a point, and I'm going to bring up a letter, a resolution that the board has agreed to send to Governor Gretchen Whitmer, asking that Ottawa County be lifted from restrictions from the Safer at Home executive order when that expires on June the 12th. Explain a little bit about this petition, this resolution sent to the governor. It's similar to some sentiments made by the county's legislative delegation to Lansing, State Representatives Brad Slaw, Luke Merriman, and Jim Lilly, as well as State Senator Roger Victory, who have expressed similar sentiments to the governor earlier this month.
Well, as you know, many of us, all of us as commissioners have gotten not only emails, but phone calls. And then sometimes people stop us on the street at a distance, of course, to to explain to us that, you know, we're trying to do the best that we can in Ottawa County, and most people are paying attention to the 6 feet and wearing masks when they go into the grocery stores, and so what they're asking is that, you know, I think that there needs to be some trust that people will do the right thing and that it's time to get back to business. And, you know, we're hearing that more and more. At the same time, you know, this letter that we sent is respectful of the governor and, you know, her right to do what she feels she needs to do, but at the same time asking her to consider at least, you know, not lumping, if you know, if Grand Rapids, the Kent County area is, you know, not the same as Ottawa County. It's not, and yet we're lumped in with that larger metropolitan area in terms of you know, her designation as far as how long it's going to take for us to be able to respond to COVID. So I think it's important for us to say that, you know, I think we need to be differentiated from the metropolitan area of Grand Rapids. And that's basically what we're saying.
Yeah, the thing is, though, and I'm going to say this as a point of argument to sort of get your response to it, some of those who might say, well, wait a minute. What if Ottawa County and Allegan County, because of our listening area, gets opened up and Kent County does not? We might see an influx of people from Kent County going into Ottawa County. Nice for business. Unfortunately, could also, you know, put an uptick on the COVID-19 situation in Ottawa County. And that is the reason why Ottawa County's got to get lumped in with Kent County. How do you respond to that type of argument?
Well, okay, so people from Ottawa County could be going into Manistee as well, right? And Manistee is open now. So, you know, so I don't know, where do you draw the line? How do you draw it? So I appreciate the fact that the governor has to draw the line someplace. However, what we're saying is that, you know, I think Ottawa County is by and large ready to move forward and to open up businesses again. And that's what this letter is about.
395-1450. If you have a question for Ottawa County Commissioner Roger Bergman, he'll be happy to answer it. He is from the Grand Haven area, 395-1450. He can also answer some Grand Haven-related questions for those who are living or working in the northern part of our listening area. with the state of emergency as it goes on, what about reopening the county offices, the Fillmore Street administrative building? Maybe the courts might be a little bit of a different story, but certainly some of the Ottawa County offices reopening. We are seeing guidance from the Secretary of State's office for Michigan about reopening on the 1st. What about county offices reopening?
I'm not sure that. I think that's one determination with this state of emergency that it would Supervisor Al Vanderberg the opportunity to start bringing some people back and to potentially open the buildings. And I imagine because of the fact that the state is going to be opening up some of theirs, that we should be able to start opening up some of the county buildings as well, slowly. But I think that we're apparently going to be waiting until after the 12th before we do that.
Yeah, the 12th might be an interesting day. And I mentioned before before I had a chance to get you on board, Roger, the fact that we might know more about the situation involving COVID-19 after the 12th, because it'll be a couple of weeks after the Memorial Day weekend. And there were reports of widespread not following social distancing.
Correct.
And we'll see whether or not the curve goes back up.
We have a spike.
Yeah, we'll see about that. So again, we'll have to wait for further attractions in that regard. Again, 395-1450 is the number. Maybe this might be more of a question, Roger, for Al Vandenberg, I should say, or than that is for you. But yet, did you get some guidance from the administrator as to, hey, we got to get these offices back and running in Ottawa County? We're really starting to feel the pinch. Or has the county been able to ride these proverbial rapids okay?
I think we've done a pretty good job of running the rapids, as you say. But certainly, I think there are certainly there are some employees that would like to come back, and I think that the county has put together a plan to bring many of the people back, but on a slow basis. You're not bringing them all back at the same time. We're getting prepared for that. We purchased masks for employees to be able to use when they come back. We'll have the desks 6 feet apart. We'll have the partitions. We'll be ready for them to come back. And so I think, and then some of the COVID dollars that the federal government has allocated through the state of Michigan to use for some of that preparation has been used, and so we're looking forward to reopening some of the government offices as well soon.
Let me ask you a question that was posed a little bit earlier this morning to the man who represents Ottawa County on Capitol Hill, Congressman Bill Huizenga, getting some of those federal dollars out of Lansing from the CARES Act. Some elected leaders in Michigan have said, hey, the money's being tied up in Lansing. That's not going to the municipalities, or in this case, the county government. Have you been privy to some of this thing as to whether or not the money's going?
I heard it on the way here this morning, because I was in Holland earlier, and I heard him talk about that, and I thought, that's interesting. I was not aware of that, so I can't answer that. I can't add anything to that.
I just was kind of wondering whether or not if that came to your ears as well. But we appreciate you listening to our conversation with Congressman Huizenga. Appreciate the support. We thank you for your support. 395-1450, 395-1450. Roger, one COVID-19 related question. You comfortable with the masks that we have to wear now, most public places?
Yep. Yeah. What was the question? Say it again.
Are you comfortable with the masks? In other words,
yes, I have them, and I don't have it on basically now, but yes, yeah, I wear every time I go into a store, I take it along. The challenge that I have is because I wear glasses, my glasses fog up, so I have to take my glasses off or put them back on and off. But otherwise, yes, I wear it when I go to the coffee shop. When I go into the grocery store, I wear it.
By the way, trick from our friends over at Spectrum Health Zealand Community Hospital, because I had the same problem as well. They says, flip the two ends over, sort of, make it like a little an 8, and that keeps the mask closer to your body, closer to your face, so you don't get steam over the glasses.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's a
Pull
little
it tighter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little tip here, and we
Okay.
try to deal with that. Peg McNichol has a question from the newsroom. Peg,
not so much a question. Two more tips about these masks, because I've been making them. You can slide a garbage tie into that hem at the top, and it'll mold around your nose. Or you can slip a line of Kleenex and again fold the top of the mask down. And then the other tip they have is, for some reason this does work. I'm a glasses wearer also. If you wash your lenses with soap and water and pat them dry, you have to rinse the soap off. For some reason that reduces the fogginess.
Oh, thank you.
Of tips. Sure.
Yeah, helpful tips, of course. Maybe have some, defrogger inside. I don't know. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about the growth of Ottawa County, and it ties in a little bit with what we're trying to get people to do: fill out the census to make sure the county gets its fair share of funds over the next 10 years.
Yeah, we just we have a growth rate of 10.63%. And we remain the 8th most populous county in the state of Michigan. And with the census that's being taken right now, how important it is for us to make sure that everyone in Ottawa County is counted, because it'll matter in terms of our representation, not only in the state but also in the federal government. And it also matters as far as districts for county commissioners and how those may be changed in the 2022 election. So it's important for us to always make sure that we get counted,
Yeah, indeed. I certainly agree with you on that. Let's talk about something that normally we would be talking about this time of year with the county commissioners: millage rates. I know it's an ugly thing to talk about, but hey, if you want county government and you want to be able to have what government can provide, you got to pay for it.
Yes. And here's the thing that a lot of people don't realize is that one of the reasons I really enjoy being part of the commission is that I am proud of the fact that our county is the best, and I'm not exaggerating. We are told this often. We are the best run county in the state of Michigan. We have the 6th lowest millage rate, and the reason at this time of year we have to say that we're increasing our taxes, we are not increasing our taxes, but because of the Headley Amendment, we have to say that we are, because there is an additional tax revenue. It's increased from one year to the next because of new growth that happens, whether it's new construction or something else that happened. So there really is not an increase, and people will not see an increase in their millage at all. And even though it says there is.
Now, there's a public hearing set for that coming up?
Yes, on June 9, just before the board meeting on that day. So, and that will be on Zoom, and you'll be able to, come in as a public on Zoom, and also it'll be on Facebook Live on that day.
Let me open a can of worms at the end of our conversation, Roger. Speaking about dealing with having county board meetings streamed online, obviously with Zoom, it's that way. But once you guys start meeting together, are we going to start seeing possibly those meetings becoming a regular feature on the county's website?
You know, at one time the question was raised, and then it went to the board, the planning and policy board, and they decided not to do it. But I think with the experience that we've had now, I have a very good feeling that it will continue. I can't say that for sure because I'm only one of 11. So, but I don't see the reason why we wouldn't continue to do it.
Yeah, especially since Allegan County did allocate the funds last month, earlier this month, I should say, to get themselves set up so that they can have it on a regular basis at Dumont Lake, and maybe we can have it at the Fillmore Street complex as well, so that people can be able to watch the proceedings and follow the proceedings if they can't be at the Fillmore Street complex for these meetings coming up. With that, Roger Bergman, I want to thank you very much for joining us today on WHTC's Talk of the Town, the Ottawa County Commissioner from the Grand Haven area. Just want to let everybody know our conversation with Roger will be uploaded to our regular WHTC.com website as a podcast in a few moments. The video that we just have with Roger, we'll upload it as well and have access to that a little bit later on this afternoon. Roger, we appreciate your time joining us and wish you and everyone well, and look forward to talking with the commissioners again next month.
Thanks, Gary. Thanks for having us.
That is Roger Bergman, the Ottawa County Commissioner on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC. Steve Kathan has CBS News coming up, followed by WHTC News with Peck Nickel, and then Sarah Donkersloot from Zeeland Community Hospital, Spectrum Health Zeeland Community Hospital will join us for Wellspring on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.